everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Let's Take 5, the podcast where we look at one of the greats of cinema and we discuss their excellence and range. My name's Eric Martindale.
I'm Austin Luger.
And we're back again this week with another part of our Richard Linklater 5. The previous films that we covered were Slacker, Dazed and Confused, Before Sunrise, and now we will be covering School of Rock today, and then after that we'll be covering Boyhood. So today we are talking about School of Rock, which was... it's kind of weird me doing the intro on this one, but I'll keep pushing through on it just because this was your sort of pick for the 5, and I'm talking about School of Rock, which was a movie that I hadn't seen before. We actually did this, and it's of the rest of the movies, it's kind of like one of those standardized tests you took in high school and says which one of these is not like the others.
Yep.
But School of Rock is the story about a loser played by Jack Black, and he's a band. I call him a loser not just because he's a guy that likes music and he wakes up late, but also because he gets kicked out of his own band, so that's not working out either. He's crashing with a friend of his, and this friend of his was his friend with him he used to play with in a band together, so basically that's how they know each other. And some of the conflict arises when the girlfriend played by Sarah Silverman is basically trying to get him to throw him out. So he decides he needs a job, so he takes a job as a substitute teacher, which he's an imposter. The job was actually offered to a friend of his, but he needs the money to make payments on the rent and whatnot. He gets to school. He doesn't know how to teach. The only thing he knows is music. You see how this sort of escalates from here. Is that a fairly good job of wrapping up?
No, it absolutely is. It was fun to watch you do that because it's now the 4th film in the Linklater 5, and this is also now the first film where it took more than one sentence to tell the plot.
No, that's really true. This movie did definitely have a plot. This was a studio picture through and through. I mean, Richard Linklater, while this has artistic merit, it certainly does, and quite a bit of it for what the movie actually is. This is a paycheck movie, essentially, compared to the other work that he did. I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, I'd almost bet my bottom dollar on it. This did more money at the box office than probably any of these movies combined.
Yes, absolutely. So, this is the only one that turned into a Broadway musical.
Yeah, which fairly recent.
Which I haven't heard of yet.
I saw one morning I was waking up and Good Morning in America was on because Meg was up in the morning because it's not my jam. Right. So it's on, and they had it as their performer. They did their opening number, the closing number,
sure.
And the kids were playing the instruments and everything, and it seemed so that was actually a exposure to School of Rock I had before actually the movie.
It was also adapted into a Nickelodeon sitcom. I'm not sure if it's still in the air or not, but I think the success of this film is going to pay for the next 5 Before films, which is great. And so we brought this one up because, as we always say with Let's Take 5, it's not the top 5 best films of the filmmaker. It is the 5 that show their excellence and range. And Linklater, I think he has like 20 films in his canon now. He does have his studio work. I mean, he has films for people to talk the entire time, sometimes in weird animation. But he did this. He did the Bad News Bears remake. He did Fast Food Nation, which is kind of a blend of indie and more studio. He's someone who is not really afraid to go be a director for hire. Me and Orson Welles, another one like that. And what we're kind of seeing here is, with School of Rock, first of all, it's a super entertaining movie. Doesn't have the depth of anything we've covered so far, including Slacker. But what I saw from this movie, in comparison to the rest of the 5, was a real skill at making something that's kind of dying away now, which is the $30 million studio movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not an expensive movie. There's no special effects. It has a actual casting crew, unlike his other films. But it's something special, and it does a very simple story that's easily adaptable, as we're learning now, because it's a very easy character arc of someone lies, truth is told, redemption is happening, growth.
Yeah, that seems to always happen in these type of movies.
Yeah.
This usually ends up being the central conflict, and it's always heightened in a way. Like this isn't real reality. Like,
no.
You couldn't this couldn't actually happen.
Right, and this is...
It's a fake reality, like Love Actually.
Yes,
it's like,
And, this is not the naturalism that we see in the previous films. The only thing that you can even guess is being improvised is maybe a bit of a Jack Black ramble, just because that's his comedy style. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed watching Linklater succeed at all the small parts for this. There were so many parts of the story that were told so well, not only because his camera moved a whole lot more and like really quietly. Mm-hmm. I kind of like noticed how often the camera was just kind of gliding around the classroom. It always felt dynamic. And story-wise, I mean, this is the first time he did not write this movie. It was written by Mike White, who is the roommate. He is the real Ned Schneebly. That is Mike White. And just certain things worked. Apparently Linklater did kind of help adapt the plot a little bit, because it was Linklater who made sure that Jack Black and Joan Cusack didn't fall in love at the end.
Yeah, that was that was a big thing for me that I enjoyed quite a bit about this film. Mm-hmm. Any other film, those two fall in love.
Yeah.
It literally any other film. And you kind of feel like it might be going that route at one point. But these are two type of people that will actually never be together. So
no.
It's great to see them make a connection with each other that doesn't need to be romantic in nature, you know? 'Cause that's just... I'm getting sick of it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just getting so sick of it. I mean, you're the lead, we fall in love. It's just, it's losing its luster, its excitement that I feel like it should have. And it doesn't, but their relationship's really awesome to watch them, go and grow. Joan Cusack, probably a little overshadowed by Jack Black in this movie, but she's quite funny.
She is. In certain scenes, when she has to address the parents who are now like rebelling against her after the frauds we found out, the way she delivers the line, where she's just kind of lost at this point. I'm happy to inform you all that your children are missing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an amazing Joan Cusack, like, neurotic performance.
She does. She gives a really good performance here, and it's again she plays. She's heightened. Obviously, the character is it's a archetype. It's a type. She's a wound too tight bookworm principal that used to be fun and now isn't. That's an archetype, and she, the subtle pulls of the glasses are not so subtle here, like they would be in another film. They, the way she pushes her glasses up, the way she giggles. These are things that are just. They play into that heightened reality really well without going into cheese. Like they work really well, and they work really well in a ant farm where Jack Black sort of gets to work in,
yes,
because he's you can't have him in a movie and it not be heightened, really. Like, it's always kind of going to go that way. And that's not to say he's not a good actor, because he's really good at doing that. This guy's a renaissance man. He's a great actor. He's a great singer. He's a great musician. I mean, these are things that he is. So you gotta let him off the leash, And
this is an interesting point in his career, because he's been around now for a decade at this point. Because 2003, and he was around in the 90s, basically... he's in one episode of The X-Files, one episode of this, just trying to get by. But he had his band, Tenacious D. And this really was kind of really a big breakout role as him of a lead in a movie, because he was in High Fidelity as a side character. And he actually did work with Linklater again in a movie called Bernie, which is a really interesting film. And that's where he gets to be a more naturalistic... It isn't still as like before films, but it is a much more quieter film. And he gets to play a much... quieter character. He's even based on a real person. Yeah,
I know. I feel like I was sold him short when I was talking about earlier. What I mean is, like,
he's playing the Jack Black.
Yeah, he's letting him work off the leash here, which is kind of what this movie needs to have. It needs that type of Jack Black energy that he brings to it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Jack Black and a bunch of kids
who aren't actors.
Right? Those kids must have loved him.
Yeah, they had to have.
They must have really loved him. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're still in contact with each other today. But it's a movie that makes you feel good. It's a movie that I'm sure a lot of families like watching. It's like School of Rock. It's totally unoffensive, and it's just it just makes you feel good. It's a feel good movie. That's what it's designed to do. But it does have artistic merit in it as well. That I think like a Linklater can't. he's always going to stumble onto that. You know, it's always going to be there. Like the opening credits, for instance, I think have like it's just this awesome sort of work with the camera and this style again as it moves through and you see all the names pop up. And I don't know, like, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And it's just there is something, even though it's a studio picture, there is just, you can feel the Linklater touch to it that I think makes it a little more exceptional.
Absolutely. I think, to me, the biggest Linklater influence, and not to discredit Mike White's script, because Mike White's a very good writer, is that Linklater, as in all his films, he has such a great affection for people. I think that's very clear here through two avenues. One, with Jack Black's character, he is a liar. He has snuck into the school and is now going to stop teaching them math, and he's going to teach them how to rock to win about all the bands. But every time he tells a lie, it is always for survival, not to bring someone else down. It's basically kind of just his goal is always for some form of entertainment and for a thing that he thinks is right. It's not to sabotage someone else. It's never like pulling a prank on the principal. It's about trying to hide a lie from a principal.
Yeah, you're right. You're
and it makes it very... He's always kind. You're always rooting for the liar in this movie.
That's a good point that you make. Yeah, I mean, it's very easy. I mean, you meet this type of person in real life. You know, if you run into Dewey Finn, you don't like him.
Right.
In real life.
Yeah.
He works here because he's given that extra nuance. We get to see all the dimensions of who he is. And, yeah, that's really important. It's an interesting balance to strike. I mean, this guy's a moocher who is lying. And you know, by all accounts, Patty, who's Sarah Silverman, who wants to throw him out, is correct about everything she's saying about him. But, you know, it is mostly... especially, and he grows at the film, and there's it's mostly for a good reason. And I think, like a lot of Linklater characters, you see sort of him trying to hold on to that sort of like have that retention of youth.
Yeah,
and that's easy to sympathize with. But he's able to find his niche. He carves out his own niche by the end of the film as well, which is always sort of the dream thing of the leisure class. Like somehow I'm going to find something that's going to allow me to do what I'm doing, so I don't have to do anything else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And something that also makes him very kind of relatable is that his passion is always on his sleeve. He loves music so much that is truly in like every line of dialogue that he has.
Right.
And all he wants to do is kind of always to be in a band. And it's kind of initially seen as that's just what he loves to do. Maybe that's all he knows how to do. So when he's now working with the kids to kind of, once he realizes that they're all really good musicians, coincidentally, the song he has them work on for a month is about how he was kicked out of his band and how he needs to pay rent. It's using the kids to express the emotions he's having, but he's having alone.
Right.
And as the film goes on, his arc is almost kind of recognizing that the point of the band isn't to really like preach that necessarily. It's about the real joy of music, and it's when he kind of starts giving up the reins and letting them perform their own song that speaks more to them, but also speaks more to the themes that have mattered to him throughout the entire movie. That's where he finds his real joy. Is that like he's happy to do this.
And he feels like he belongs, which was like a big point. And that kind of goes to, you know, Tiger doesn't change his stripes, but, you know, you can, if you find that niche, you know, like if you can focus that energy, that thing you like to do into a positive, then that's a good thing. And we're going to root for that type of character. And that's what this movie is about. Yeah. If this were a movie about Dewey Finn, posing as an accountant,
sure,
we would hate him.
Yeah, and he's embezzling and whatnot.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. But it's there's a positive charge to this movie
because he made their lives better.
Yeah, he enriches their lives, and we see that work throughout the parents. We see that work throughout the kids. One kid in particular who's the great guitar player. But all of them really.
And that's where I think the other kind of part of the Linklater charm works, because Linklater loves all his characters. I think there is an exception with this movie. We'll get to that in a second. It is insane to me that there is, a dozen kids in that classroom? And they kind of instantly establish that they only need, 5 of them to be on stage to perform music. So you think that the rest of them just become, extras in the room.
No.
Every one of these people, I don't know their names, I don't know those names, but they all have personalities, and they confront him. They go are we not part of the band because we're not one of these 4? And he gives them all roles, and they get to keep... They all get these weird little subplot arcs that are very tiny, but they all exist.
Yeah,
Everyone
we keep cutting back to them doing those jobs they were told to do. We see scenes of the security team watching to see if the principal's coming down the hallway so they can act like he's actually teaching.
And that I loved that part because it was all done without giant studio money. Mm-hmm. They didn't have levers and pulleys to put on the ceiling.
Yeah.
No, they just put it on wheels and put it in the closet.
Yeah.
It was all very realistic.
And the wardrober?
Yes.
Okay.
So I thought a lot about this character.
Me too.
I think it's a good character. Because I kept wondering, because there's this very...
Because that kid he's the only kid that doesn't really get what they want.
No. Although he does, ultimately, all of his ideas are shut down.
Yes.
Until the end where it says we're going to do uniforms. And then he does make the best out of that.
Yes.
So he still gets to have his input in there.
That's true.
He is the...
And everything's coming together at that point. So.
He's the very effeminate kid who his idol's Liza Minnelli. And I kept worried, is this a gay stereotype kid? Then I realized, no, this is just a really, this is the only kid who's confident about his personality in the whole room.
No.
I liked him a lot because it never felt... The joke was never on him. The joke was that his music clashes with Jack Black, and Jack Black almost can't convince him otherwise.
I think he is a gay stereotype, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think you have the bossy kid in class.
Yep.
You have the kid that's super talented, but he's pushed by his father, and the overbearing dad that won't let him be that's all
Steppenwolf alum.
Yeah, that's Steppenwolf alum. Yeah, he's great on stage. This movie is
he
a
had
little weird.
5 lines.
He had 5 lines.
And,
yeah, but it's just like the angry dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
anyway, no. Tim Hopper's a fantastic actor.
No, he's incredible.
The guy that plays the dad in this we've seen on stage in Chicago, and he's really good. And he shops in my local supermarket. Moving on.
Tell him about the podcast. He'll love this movie.
Exactly. Moving on from that, and Jack Black's a stereotype. You got the stereotype girlfriend. So this is how these movies work.
And that girlfriend, I think that's the only character the movie doesn't like. We never get Sarah Silverman's point of view.
Well, she's terrible in this.
Yeah, she's bad.
She's really terrible in this. Every line she gives of anger, it looks like she's about to start laughing. And I'm pretty sure she does sometimes.
Yeah. I think she's a good actress now. In the past couple of years, she was in things like Masters of Sex and that really good Sarah Polley film, I can't take that waltz. No, she's not very good in this. And
she's not.
It's her fault, and I think it's the script's fault that she's given no other dimension besides she's just in there to nag and scream and leave.
Yeah, that's true.
She doesn't get one joke.
Then why is she always smiling? I swear.
Because she's known Jack Black for 10 years? I don't know.
I don't know Sarah Silverman as a person. She's not, but, most comedians that I feel like try to be shocking, I typically just don't like very much. Mm-hmm. And that's where the humor's coming from. It's like, she's kind of that to me.
I think at this point in her career, she was very much like that.
Yeah.
I really liked the past 5 years or so, Sarah Silverman. This was 15 years ago.
Yeah, sure. And that's what she looks exactly the same.
I know, right?
That's probably the most shocking thing to me about this is that I feel like I'm getting old because I can't believe this movie came out in 2003. Like that the movie that seems like it came out. It seems like it came out yesterday.
I had the soundtrack when this came out. It's a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
All these great rock songs.
Well, Linklater's got great soundtracks.
Oh, yeah.
That's
the Dazed and Confused soundtrack is incredible.
Dazed and Confused is great.
But I realized I knew all the lyrics still of their main song when I started playing. Like I think I still know. Like it's a very simple song, but it's really catchy. And it's really good too. Like their big song that comes together. And also, this was also something I noticed during this movie. I kept thinking about a movie I didn't like last year. And I'm alone in not liking this film, but I have a reason. I didn't like Arrival last year. because basically they always come into their scientific conclusions in a audioless montage. They've now finished writing gibberish on the board and go, we've now done it. This film, like so many other great films, even like Apollo 13, they show the work. It's very small work, but the fact that you watch them change lyrics when you hear like not working, that does mean something. That Zach didn't just write a perfect song out of the box.
Oh no, it totally.
It was so great to watch that through the whole film. Just like these small little tinkerings.
No, it's like we talked about this before when we're not recording. Like in that heightened reality, you still have to be grounded in certain ways.
Yes.
Like, or the audience will not go with you. That's where Batman movies went off the rail. Like Batman '89 was fine. Batman Returns, Penguins had rocket launchers on their back, and we're going, okay, is this a bridge too far? If bats come to rescue Batman in Batman Begins, that's stupid. If he has a little button he pushes that calls them, fine. Like, you can have a heightened reality, but you have to still ground us somewhere in the real world. These are young kids. They wouldn't just be incredible music experts just because we want them to be for the sake of plot.
What bank issued Batman his own Batman MasterCard?
Yeah, exactly.
Who did that?
Who was that? But yeah, I do point at that because movies with heightened reality have to be grounded somehow.
And this one isn't like... It's so weird we call it heightened reality because every other 5 would just call this a movie. But because we did Slacker, Dazed and Confused, and Sunrise, this is the most heightened thing of all time.
Yes.
When in fact, it's pretty normal in terms of like movie standards go.
Sure.
Just like things actually happen.
Yeah.
In an arc. And yeah, it's so well paced too. And again, his camera, he gets to be flashier in a way that never feels distracting because it fits the world better than it did with Slacker.
I feel like he had a lot of fun making this film, for sure. I could feel the energy that Jack Black was bringing to. I'm not surprised they ended up working together again. They worked together well in this film. This has one of the coolest closing credits sequences ever. It's
the long one shot of them doing their second song.
Yeah, but that's that Linklater. He had to do that. He had to have that in the film. Like, this one take of these kids just rocking out and everything, and it's great. While the credits roll, it's fantastic. But it actually serves a plot point because at the end of the film, Dewey's running a school of rock. He actually has a school there. He's teaching kids how to play instruments, and that's what I was talking about when those people. That's the ultimate dream for the loser, right? You love doing that one thing. That's what you enjoy doing. Now you could actually make that your life. You could actually put that energy into something like that. So that's actually sort of the culmination of the whole film.
And let's talk about the third act because it's weird how well structured the story is, and it all fits so well together at the end, and the film knows what parts we don't need. Obviously he gets found out.
Yeah.
He gets found out in actually a really kind of great fashion because he keeps avoiding the parent-teacher night because he knows that's the one thing he can't lie about because he doesn't know math or history or what they should be teaching. You can't charm them in that way. That's where he gets found out, ultimately in the structure. But they're always going to battle bands. It's going to happen. So the kids, go pick him up. And when he's on the school bus to go to the battle bands with them, he starts to do the speech of like, I'm sorry I lied to you guys. And they pretty much cut him off. And they go like, we're late. We don't need to do that now. Yeah. And I think partly because that paid off so well is because they always understood the sincerity and they were frustrated at first. They kind of always realized where his lying was. His lying was never about when he was like excited and inspiring them and giving them CDs and whatnot. It was lying about, I'm not teaching you history. Then, because also in order for the ending to work, to have the kids go to his now private school, after school program of School of Rock, the parents need to be okay. The parents need to also forgive him for the lie. And in order for that to be pulled off, you need to give the greatest little concert to finish the movie.
Yeah.
And they kind of did in a way that not only praised the song and the filmmaking, but every single one of the kids in the classroom gets their little hero moment. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy. And just have all the parents recognize that these hero moments are happening for each one of them is awesome.
Yeah.
Even though it makes no sense that a Battle of the Bands happened in, what, noon? No, Battle of the Bands happened at night.
Yeah. Well, also, that's the road you can't go down.
Yeah.
That's that heightened reality filmmaking. You can't go down that road.
Well, if John Cusack did a background check, that's no movie.
Yeah.
Like, even an ID.
Yeah. Well, she thought he was Schneebly.
I know. But, like, show an ID.
It's a good joke when he doesn't know how to spell his own best, his
really
best
good.
friend's last name.
It is a wonderfully bad last name.
Yeah, it is.
Ned Schneebly.
Ned Schneebly. This is, I guess, we talked about The Extras in Range and that being the podcast, the part of the podcast. And it's not my least favorite film we covered of the 5. We'll get into that later. We'll rank them in the. We've been forgetting to do that sometime. We'll rank it in the wrap up, but.
Well, then I got another week and a half to decide my.
Yeah, exactly. But so why, Austin? Why School of Rock again?
I think it's the best of his studio films, and it shows that he can do something else beyond really small character studies. He can do the same kind of passion and character studies in a different format, and he loves to show that passion. He showed that passion as well in Me and Orson Welles, which is basically watching young Zac Efron get to witness Orson Welles put on Julius Caesar and just be in awe of storytelling and theater and everything like that. It works here, and it's no one dislikes this film. I mentioned we're doing this for the podcast. Everyone laughed that we are, and then go, School of Rock's awesome.
Yeah. You know what? Dad likes this movie a lot.
Every dad likes this movie.
Yeah. Is this a dad movie?
I think it's an everybody movie.
It's an everybody movie. Yeah. No, this is not a film I ever thought we'd be covering on this podcast when we started it.
No.
I'll be honest. That said, it's not my. It's
not in the bottom.
That's not in the bottom. Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not the worst movie we've covered, in my opinion. So, I was happy to watch it. Had a lot of fun with it. Don't know when I'll watch it again, but it generated a nice conversation.
I think I'll watch it again immediately after someone says, "You don't watch School of Rock?" And I go, "Yeah,
sure."
But anyway, that is episode 49. You can leave a comment for this episode over at theartimmortal.com. Let us know what you think of School of Rock. Do you love it too? Come on, of course you love it too. Leave a comment. And while you're there, you can check out the other podcasts that are at the site, including the Immortals, which is the podcast I do with a couple of others, where we review the 1001 top movies, albums, food, songs, children's books, and TV shows you must consume before you die. Yesterday's episode was number 70. We covered Alien, which was a big one. Also, since it was a 10 episode, Sarah got to do the bonus episode review, and we also reviewed A Few Good Men. Those don't work as a double feature. They're both good movies, but no, not really a double feature. Also, check that one out, and also you can check out Ad Absurdum, the pop culture legal team, discuss The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Enjoy that episode, because next week there'll be another one. We'll talk about that one later, though. Where can we find you, Eric?
You can find me at Constant Diversion. That's my YouTube channel, Constant Diversion. On there, I do similar conversations about video games that we talked about here. Before I close out, I'd just like to thank a lot of the viewership's gone up here lately. So, thank you all for coming out, and for someone out there is telling their friends about it, and it's it really helps. It's nice to know we're chatting with somebody.
And if they need a good starting off point, maybe it'll be next week's episode 50. We're going to be doing Boyhood.
That's right. Boyhood.
Or start number 1 or 2. It actually does not matter where you start off.
Actually, it really doesn't.
They're very nice episodes.
It's kind of the idea of it when we started.
Yeah.
So,
anywho, my name's Austin Luger.
My name's Eric Martindale.
Catch you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that. Yeah. We were singing, and we were learning. We were learning in sing-song.
Huh. What are your methods?
Yeah. I find that it's really helpful when you're teaching the subjects that are the boring subjects.
Huh. Well, You don't mind if I just sit in on your class this afternoon, do you?
No, come on back this afternoon.
It is the afternoon, I meant now. So please, just continue with your method.
Yeah, okay. Math is a wonderful thing. Math is a really cool thing. So get off your act, let's do some math. Math, 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 math. 3 minus 4 is...
-1.
That's right. And 6 times a billion is...
6 billion?
Nailed it. And 54 is a 45 more than what is the answer, Marta?
9.
No, it's 8.
No, it's 9.
Yes, I was testing you. It's 9. And that's a magic number.